So hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for coming back after this morning session. This afternoon, the goal is to be a bit more interactive than this morning and make it available for you to ask questions about what we said this morning, as well as going a bit deeper into what is partnership at Rapyd. And when we say at Rapyd, is the big family of Rapyd, which means obviously legacy business of Rapyd, as well as our new brothers and sisters at Valitor. First, I wanted to start this to present myself quickly. So I'm Hedi. I am based in Paris, hence the accent, the French accent that you can hear. I am heading the partnership team at Rapyd for the legacy business of Rapyd. And so I joined the company about 3.5 years ago. I've worked at multiple fintechs in the past, Tunes, PayPal, and I work in corporate and investment banking before. So I'm really pleased to have you this afternoon. I wanted to start this afternoon with, do you have any questions about what we said this morning? Like, is it clear about virtual accounts, virtual bank accounts? Are you clear about all those collect, disburse, wallet, and issuance product that we're offering? Was there anything unclear this morning? Don't be shy. No? Okay, then I'll start and I'll dive into what partnership is and the vision that we have about partnership. So we truly, as Eric mentioned this morning, we truly value partnership. Like, we believe that without partnership, we cannot actually win the market, we cannot expand in the way we want. And the goal for us is to find the right partners. And if you're here, that means you are the right partners. We have obviously a long journey ahead, as for Valitor, it has been a while that you've been doing channel partnership in a systemic way. At Rapyd, it's a fairly new team. The team was founded only 6 months ago. And so it's a new rhythm that we're trying to find, even though we were already doing partnership and we had multiple activities in that field, but managed slightly differently. We have multiple ways of partnering, and I'll be explaining that later on, but from extremely light integration all the way to fully embedded solutions. And so we want to give you a bit more color around what it means to partner with Rapyd. Some may be relevant for you, some may not be extremely relevant for you. What we are planning to do with Christian and Peter, at the second part of that presentation, I will talk about 55 minutes, hopefully with questions in between, otherwise my throat will get dry, but after that we'll actually have another Q&A sessions. We've prepared a few questions for you to give feedback. Remember this morning we talked about that feedback loop. This is extremely important, and that time together, physically, we truly believe it's important, and we take the time to value, to get your feedback and to value it. So we're going to do breakout sessions in between the two groups. You have few people that are working with Valitor, a few people that are working with the Rapyd, even though we're again a big family now. And we'll ask those questions separately, and we will do an all-together session at the end. About the fintech as a service, you've heard it this morning. Fintech as a service is an important piece of what we do, and it's working with other fintechs as well as working with merchants and turn them into their own fintech. And it's from financial planning, payment, etc. And what we do is, as all the people this morning said, is scalability. I think that's a core message that we have, and that's why we believe that partners help us with that, is how can we help our merchants scale and our partners scale their offering to their own merchant. As we said this morning, and I'll come back to that later on, we operate in about 110 markets for collection. We can do almost 190 markets for disbursement. So we truly have a global offering, and we're expanding that on a monthly basis. Every new push that we have, we expand our capabilities. The same value proposition that we usually have, so a single API connectivity to us to get access to all our business. With the Valitor team now, it may be 1.5 API integration, I would say, because being an ISO and a PayFac obviously has different requirements than doing classic, more classic in the Rapyd terms, collect, disburse, wallet, and issuance. But still, it's limited integration for you to leverage a full payment product. Why are we successful, or why do we think we're successful working with partners? Multiple things. it's expensive to integrate with each and every payment method, right? If you're a large merchant or even an SMB, if you want to work in one or multiple regions and you want to do collection, disburse, wallet, and issuance, you need 4 different partners in each market and in each region, which means if you're in the UK, in Europe, in the US, and in APAC, potentially you have up to 16 partners that you need to partner with. So that means you need a full payment team, you need developers because you need to integrate all those APIs and maintain those APIs. We truly believe that with the partnership that we have, like Primer that I see in the room here, for example, or even Banked that we have, that we've partnered with, we're helping those merchants to actually streamline that process and have even better single connectivity. We have a lot of payments available, and we'll go into, you've seen that those payments available this morning with Juan. Obviously, you can leverage those with local entities or without local entities, and I think that's also an important factor. We can leverage our payment network without you having to be necessarily locally based in a specific region. Most of the competition that we see in terms of when we look at the scale of capabilities that we offer, we have a lot of competition, and let's face it, but those are usually extremely regional. Like they are extremely deep into some of the payment method that you would find. I have a bias across to Europe because I live here. So when you think about carte bancaire and BACS and faster payment, SEPA direct debit, open banking payment initiation, etc., you would find regional PSPs that have extremely deep routes in those business. What we're trying to get there, obviously we're not everywhere at the same level of integration with all the payment methods, but that's the end goal. But we truly believe that nevertheless we have a pretty comprehensive payment network that is available. And then finally, the FX and the risk component of things that usually complement what our partners are already doing. So we're not necessarily providing all the service to all the partners. Some of them are already doing FX, already doing a lot of the different things that we provide, and it's how can we cooperate in that. Here you have another form of the spaghetti slide that Eric was presenting this morning. I'm not going to go into too much detail. The whole point here is to show that with the different entities that we have around the globe and the different licenses that we have around the globe, we're able to provide the full suite of service. So as a reminder, we have a major payment institution license in Singapore. We're an EMI, an e-money issuer in the UK, an e-money issuer in Iceland, passported across Europe. We're an MSB in the US through 2 banking partners, and we're PSP in Mexico and Brazil, which enable us to offer all the services that we have and actually fully leverage those licenses for our own clients and partners not to be licensed themselves. In that sense, they don't even need to be an agent most of the time, again. And so the whole point of this is it's an extremely easy integration, both from a technical angle as well as a compliance angle. The payment network. You've seen this morning with Juan, but I think it's important to have the figures in mind. We have 190 markets where we can disburse. We have more than 900 payment methods around the globe. That ranges from cash in the Philippines all the way to SEPA direct debit in Europe. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of different payment methods, a lot of different mechanisms that we leverage from underlying partner as well as companies that are internal to the group. So Valitor for card acquiring, the ex-Corda team for card acquiring as well as leveraging many other payment methods around the globe and trying to be, again, extremely local. About the product offering, you've seen, again, those slides this morning, but again, as a reminder, we have 4 product pillars that are all accessible through the same contract to our end customers and same API connectivity. Collect, where we're helping those merchants, those end merchants, to collect transactions from their clients. Disburse, where we're connected again to those local ACH around the globe. So we have 190 countries that we are connected to via SWIFT, but we also have 85 ACH connectivity, so automated clearinghouse connectivity, which enable us to be more efficient, to have less cost in terms of pouring transaction into local ACH. The wallet is the one that we're leveraging our license for most likely, with, again, all those licenses and the ability to create stored value or ledger management system that can be custodial. The last one is the Rapyd issuing. We're a principal member of both Visa and MasterCard in Europe and in APAC, and we have been sponsors in LATAM to also issue cards. I'll go quickly into the second level of detail of those of this offering with the different connectivity that we have available. And that ranges from extremely light connectivity, from payment link, hosted pages, SDKs that are available for our collect capabilities, all the way to like providing with the Valitor products, acquiring rails for PSPs. As you can imagine, those ranges from few minutes of coding all the way to few days or few weeks of implementation, depending on the need of our partners. And that's an extremely important point, because what we want to make you aware of is that we have, at least on the collect side, especially with the new offering that Valitor has, we have a pretty compelling offer for helping our partners and becoming, again, payment companies even when they're not. We have obviously the Rapyd Disburse, which is an API-based product, as well as a client portal-based product. We have the ability to do single payout, mass payout, create beneficiary, host beneficiaries in order for reducing the security aspect of holding bank details of a customer. So that creates efficiency and security for the merchant, for the partner, for the merchant, and for the end user of the platform. The wallet, as usual with Rapyd, it's a white label wallet offering. So we're not visible to the end customer. We may be here and there in the T's and C's, but the goal is not for us to be visible to the end consumer. We're not a consumer brand. We're not an end client brand. We want to be with the merchant and with our partners. Cards, as we said this morning, it's virtual as well as physical cards. We do direct and remote authorization, and we do end-to-end card program management, which means we can actually do issuing, processing, and all those things. This one was supposed to be hidden, but you've seen this one this morning. It's the same than Eric presented, with the different products that our partners, some of our partners, are leveraging. We'll go into more in the breakout session. We'll go into more details about use cases. What is for us next-gen payment opportunities? Obviously, the technology here in the payment industry is key. We've seen nothing really moving in terms of technology from the late 50s all the way to 2000 with the card schemes. We've seen since 2000 and PayPal in 1998 starting their business from until now, like a tremendous number of new technologies popping up. And so we think our stack is extremely important, and the fact that we invest deeply in our stack is something that helps our partners. Again, when I see people in the room, I'm quite sure you've understood that as well, because for the people that I see, most of you are also heavily investing on their tech stack, and the developers team is usually a fairly big tech team, and to build that. So the goal of this is to reach new customers, and new customers not for us, for our clients, for our clients' clients. It's also managing funds. Now, being in the fund flow becomes more and more prevalent. At least that's what we see with service providers. Most of them, to secure their margin or their commission, or to offer more service and increase their margin, wants to be part of the fund flow. On the other side, becoming licensed is becoming more and more of a headache. The central banks understand better what different fintechs are doing, so they are finding regulation that are bothering them a bit more. So we're trying to manage that balance and make sure that we're secured, fully regulated, with actually the right technology. And then you have the ecosystem, which is the other thing that we invest heavily on. I was part of that team before. We have about 12 people, 15 people now, that are working solely on finding new partners all around the globe and to integrate those partners, even though we already have something like 95 different network partners connected to our platform. So this is still a heavy focus for us. You've seen what we've been developing lately with virtual accounts, so that relies, of course, on underlying partners. But we're also improving our existing capabilities with pay by bank and open banking. That is something that is popping up right now in Europe and actually in the US. Or wallet offering in emerging markets is also a focus for us, et cetera, et cetera. So the testimonials, we like putting that in those presentations. But the thing here is what we're trying to actually show is we are saving money for most of our merchants. We're creating better efficiency. Again, working capital, we've discussed that this morning. Collect, disburse, wallet, and issuance enable you to shrink your working capital need, usually by a quarter, by 3 quarters, sorry. And so instead of having that money blocked somewhere for a certain period of time, you can actually use it for your marketing, for investing into local needs. Now, you're going to tell me you haven't talked about partnership yet, except naming a few. We're still talking about Rapyd as an overall value proposition. So here it is. What do we do in the partnership team, and how do we see partnership? So again, the goal is to make available to you guys Rapyd experts, locally based. So again, we have people in Singapore. We have a partnership team in Singapore, in Reykjavik, in Iceland, in Paris for me, in continental Europe, and we have people in San Francisco and in Los Angeles that are at your disposal to help you better understand the local needs and can connect you with the relevant salespeople when needed. That's truly the first goal of this team, is to make sure that you have the right relays and you are the right point of contact for you guys to be able to strive. The other thing is to add new revenue source. Partnering with Rapyd, potentially some of you guys that are not necessarily in the payment industry or we're not in the fund flow, we're making margin on an API call base or on another service. The goal of that partnership that we're providing is to bring new value proposition to your offering, as well as bringing new to ours, to be honest. It's a win-win. It's never a one-way thing. It's always a win-win. It's also, how can we actually build a new revenue stream by actually giving you a chunk of what we're making on each and every transaction. As Eric said this morning, we're not in this business to have setup costs, to do consulting fees, etc. That's not the way we work. We only are making money when our clients are making money. That's the same thing with partners. We do not charge our partners to be part of our network. We're not a large ERP that is asking an extremely expensive license fee to be part of that network. The goal here is to build an ecosystem with people like you guys and be able to leverage and potentially to mutualize, even within those partners' ecosystem, the value proposition that we have. And that's also the goal of this kind of events for us. We're not working in silos with different partners. We want to be pretty open about who we work with, and potentially for you guys to work together as well and be that center of excellence with, like, again, this true partnership ecosystem. We have 3 flavors of the partnership, and you'll see that in the product and embedded we have sub-flavors. But the 3 main flavors that we have are alliance partners, product partners, and embedded partners. You have here the type of partners that we are referring to, and I'll go a bit deeper. I'll go quick on this one, but I'll go a bit deeper into what we mean and what are the different subsections of each of those. So within those 3 ways of partnering with Rapyd, you have, some of you are actually the dev shops, the developer alliance partners. How do we work with dev shops, with consulting firms, with partners, with digital agencies, et cetera, and how can we generate for them ongoing revenue share? The goal here, and it came from a very simple approach, was how can we go after the ideal client profile that we have identified? And they go back to the presentation this morning, which are, again, we're fond of marketplaces, we're fond of e-retailers, we're fond of travel industry, we're fond of B2B use cases. And so you are in this room because you are actually helping us to reach that goal, and because we also think that we can help you reach your goal in terms of ideal client profile. Affiliate alliance partners, so those are more influencers, affiliate, etc. And those are usually more one-time commission. Again, we are we're still, as I said, it's still a pretty young team in terms of channel partnerships, so we're still quite open in terms of business models and how we make sure we find the best value. We understand that not all partners are exactly the same, and some may need different things and may have different opportunities. Product. The product types are more embedded solutions. They're usually software systems, and we usually go to market together. I see a few heads nodding in the room, I'm sure you've identified yourself. But we have, again, it's a bit more embedded. Those people are usually integrating our API. We could still be managing the sales process, the final sales process, as well as the onboarding process. But those are more productivized, I would say, solutions, and enable a go-to-market strategy that run on the back of the Rapyd brand awareness campaigns that we're doing around the world, as well as events and a few other things that you'll see later based on the marketing activities we have for the marketing team. We also, for those product ones, we also build plugins. We have a plugin and an app strategy that is quite specific to us. We work, and you'll see the list, and if you are not aware of those plugins, please reach out to us because we have a full list and we can even share with you the product roadmap. But we have the classic shopping carts. We have, we're working with ERPs, accounting platforms, account receivable, account payable platforms as well. And so that's a big focus for us because we truly believe that it's helping you and us to be more efficient and to scale faster, especially into new countries. Into these product things, and I'm speaking under the control of my colleagues sitting over there at Valitor, we have also the PSP acquiring under the ISO model. Those are white label solution to resell activities, acquiring services in the different local markets where Valitor is operating. So if I'm not mistaken, that's under UK and Europe. And strategic guidance. What we mean by that is we understand that the ISO, implementing an ISO model requires a bit more knowledge, a bit more training for your different salespeople and team. And so we are actually here for you when it comes to that implementation. Even though we have fully packaged everything behind, and we'll go into a bit more details later on, but that's 3DS, that's onboarding processes as well, compliance engines, and KYB processes. Have I said something wrong? Good. Then we have the embedded, which are actually the some would say the end goal, but not necessarily fitting everyone. But the fully embedded are the ones that are actually that we are fully part of their ecosystem. They may actually also be managing a part of the sales process, even though at the end T's and C's are our T's and C's are embedded into the partner's T's and C's. Usually the compliance process, we keep it. So we like to have our KYB done on our end for multiple reasons. The first one is even if you are a financial institution, usually having a layering of responsibilities and licenses creates a whole lot of nesting effect with our underlying partners, which reduces the ability for us to give you payment methods when we're not owning them. So that's different for card acquiring where we are our own card acquirers. But if we talk about a GrabPay or Trustly, then if you have three different financial institutions on top of each other, it creates a whole lot of compliance questions and compliance issues. The other reason is we truly believe that we have processes that are quite strong. And so we don't necessarily need the end merchant to be involved in that process, in that KYB process. It could completely be shadow KYB process. So it doesn't necessarily affect the user experience when it comes to onboarding. Same for those ones, it's revenue share based. So when we make money, you make money. We have obviously different approach depending on the number of merchants, the number of the TPV that you're generating, the type of product that those people are consuming. But the more you give us, the more we're happy to give you back. Then we move into the second part of the embedded, which is again I would say the end goal of the PSP acquiring, which is a payfac model. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this one. But it's basically an API connectivity that gives you access to a full payment stack and a full card acquiring stack that enable you to do, again, same, like a white label approach to onboarding your own client, and to become visually a true payment company. So that's about those three models. We go into a bit more details here about not necessarily who they are, but more the type of support that we can give each of them. And you'll see all the slides are done the same way. You have the commission and how can we build a commission. And for all those ones, it's an easy, I would say an easy answer, but we're quite flexible, which means everything and nothing at the same time. But it's truly the more you give, the more you bring business, the more we can give you back. And the model that we have are, again, we can be creative with that. The marketing support is slightly different, and Mark is looking at me being worried. But the marketing support we give here is product marketing, events that we go to, and how we talk about our partners, PR, etc. That goes the same way. We're more than happy to position our partners at the front of the stage of what we do. It just needs to be again a win-win situation in the number of clients that we have and the different things that we do, and we can be as broad as going to Money 2020 and presenting stuff, as well as going extremely specialist and going to extremely verticalized type of conferences sometimes. Sarah and I were at the Unleash conference 2 weeks ago in Paris, which was around HR, and we've been doing some of those activities. So for those developer and affiliates partners in the alliance part, it's usually co-selling materials for pre-vetting customers. So we don't ask usually those partners to sell our solution. So it's more making them comfortable about having the first speech with a client and making sure that they are able to qualify a merchant the way that a salesperson and an SDR person on our end would have done it. So it's a light, I would say it's a light training for operational support and for marketing purposes. Then we have the product ones, which are obviously a bit more embedded. So they are usually a bit more expert, but they also need a bit more training from us in terms of what Rapyd is providing, because we understand that not all payment companies are behaving the same, and they do not all have the same payment methods. So on those ones, we have a whole lot of videos, ebooks, joint PR, marketing, documentation and pages. We also issue, thanks to Mark's team, a lot of white papers as well as use cases with clients that usually help position our solution with the different clients. So we've been doing. You've seen Lano this morning. We have a paper about Lano and how we've been implementing the solution for them. That usually helps merchants, even if they're not into the HR world, to actually put in perspective what Rapyd is solving in terms of fund flow management, licensing, etc., etc. Operational support here is more it's technical technical support, obviously, because there is an API integration there. So making sure that the partner have the best support whenever they implemented our API, and that whenever they see a problem or whenever they need a further implementation, like you guys over there, we can discuss it, and you have access to our team. Last but not least, it's also making sure that from a product standpoint, our product offering evolves almost on a weekly basis. And obviously you get access to the latest with our API, but sometimes you need configuration, you need slight changes into the way you've been implementing things in the past. So the goal of those product partner program is also to make sure that we track any changes and we make sure that we're aware of what is needed for you guys, and making sure that we have that, and we have that covered with our different tech teams. Last but not least, the embedded partner program. So usually those companies are more payments savvy. They know about payments. They usually don't really need our trainings. Eventually on some of the disburse and the wallet capabilities, but it's sometimes more on the compliance end and making sure that we make them understand what we can and cannot support. But usually those needs less support from a sales point of view, a bit more potentially from a marketing standpoint. So potentially opening the opportunities to co-market together. How do we go into a new market? How do we do, how do we capitalize on the billboards that we've been doing in Dubai and London over the past few months? Or how do we capitalize on the Web Summit that we've been doing here, and we are developers before, and Money 2020 in Vegas last week, and Money 20 Amsterdam a few months ago. Right, those are the types of discussion that we have with our strategic partners, and yes, so those are the different things. Here you have a list of partners that we're working with. It's not an exhaustive list, so we have a bit more partners than this, but this is a list. We have, as I said earlier, right? We have lending companies, payment orchestrators, ERPs, banks, dev shops, which is also a fairly significant focus. Harrison has been discussing with a lot of those dev shops, and some of you guys are here. Thank you very much. E-commerce platform as well with the plugin and the apps. Import and export has been also in the B2B space an extremely big focus for us over the past few months. And trade platforms in general. Is there any questions so far? Was it clear? Don't be afraid. No, that's okay? Cool. So, if we go a bit more in details with those type of partners that we have, and we've taken 4 examples of partners that we work with, and the benefits for those guys. Import, export, and trade platforms. We have been successful with some of the deals that we've made in terms of helping those complex use cases, especially when it comes to trade finance use cases where you have escrow accounts in the middle, customs, paperwork, and you have complex fund flow where you need to collect, freeze, and then unlock, and then unfreeze funds, and then disburse. Our solution has proven to be quite efficient for those ones. So that's a vertical or an ICP that we go after quite heavily. The main advantage for those guys is, again, our global network, which makes it, and global and local network, which makes it quicker, less expensive, and get you more of the transaction value that you've been processing. Again, if you think about a Swift transaction, when you get almost $50 deducted from every payment that you make every time you push something through Swift, can obviously be quite a bummer for some of the partners that we have. Even though you're talking about a 10,000 euro transaction, if you do 1,000 a day, that's a significant amount of money that is taken. We talk about cents, few cents, when it comes to processing transaction cross-border into local ACH. Those guys, of course, are leveraging our wallet as well. Again, if you're an international company, you can trade, you usually trade anywhere in the world, and the ability for you to have a partner that is not only in one region but in multiple is creating a true beneficial effect. The developer shops, and thank you again for coming with us today. Same value proposition. Again, we offer for their clients cheaper options than what they can necessarily have today. We also offer especially for the ones that are cross-border, more APMs available. So we have, as you've seen this morning, the GrabPay, the WeChat, the Alipay, as well as Bank Redirect in LATAM, SEPA Direct Debit across Europe, open banking payment initiation soon across the UK and Europe as well, which help us answer the need of those guys. That's also the thing that Drew has been working on quite heavily on the developer community, and that's where we're basically bridging the gap between what Drew is doing and what the partnership team is doing, hand in hand, on how can we help you, the developer shops, on being more efficient when it comes to payment and not spending days of work and money from your clients for implementing stuff that we believe should be fairly easy to implement. So that's a lot of technology invested. Obviously, that's a lot of time from Drew and his team building that community. We have the hackathons. We have multiple events that are happening around the globe, and this one is part of that community build that we're doing. The goal here for those for you dev shops is obviously for you to build successful apps. Payment, we understand that payment is not necessarily always the core of the app, but we try to help on that front and have at least robust payment mechanism. We also have payment orchestrators. And to be honest, payment orchestrators are usually working not only with Rapyd. The whole goal of being a payment orchestrator is having as many PSPs and acquirers around the globe to give the merchant the ability to have the choice. But so far, we've actually seen great success with those payment orchestrators, despite the fact that they offer, of course, competition, which we believe is healthy, especially for our merchant and to do testing, etc. We find ourselves in a pretty good position so far, and we haven't seen that much churn from merchant moving to us from a Stripe, a Checkout, and Hedi, and actually going back to Stripe after that, which is always a good sign, and we take it with pride. The goal is to maximize the end client conversion, to streamline processes with those clients. Primer is in the room again. I think we are able, even though we were praising ourselves to be fast in terms of integration, I believe the merchants that you have are integrating even faster, and we're able to go to market in multiple regions much faster with the partnership that we've been building. So again, thank you for that, guys. The last one is for PSPs and the product offering that we have with PSPs. We have multiple things. We've discussed about the PayFac and ISO model, but the thing is, it's an API-based product, which I believe is quite unique in the market. You don't need to build extremely complex connectivity to get access to our models. You have the automatic onboarding from a compliance standpoint, reportings, webhooks, the dispute management platform as well with the chargebacks, everything, and the transaction creation that are services that are easily available. And obviously with always the layers of regulatory and compliance support and assistance, as well as the on-site review, because with those you become actually in opposition to what I said earlier, with the agent model, with an ISO or PayFac, you become an agent. Or a form of agents, and so on that we need to do on-site reviews. Still no questions? Or questions? Anything that isn't clear? Okay. The other part is around marketing and how we are doing partnership activities around marketing. And you'll see that is from again, communication, PR, all the way to product marketing. So we have multiple things that we want to make sure, and to be honest, signing a contract with a partner is usually not the hardest part. It's when the story begins, it's not where the story ends. Actually, making people aware of what we've been launching, engagement, making sure we grow that partnership and we retain customers that are going through those partnerships are actually the keys. What do we do for that? So Bengt is not in the room, but we do joint communication about our partnership. So we've done that with Primer, we've done that with a few other partners around the globe over the past few weeks. That's social media, emails, websites, content that we create, like websites, announcements, as well as content that we're creating. And that's content that we provide, that we put on our website, that we provide to customers, that we provide to partners as well, to create those use cases, those business cases that we find extremely efficient to actually resell a solution and systematically sell in an efficient way. Those again we're quite open, and we are listening to the feedback that you have about those as well. So we'll do that into the second part of that session, but we'd love to hear what you've seen that was successful, that you've seen that proven to be more successful than you expected or less successful than you've expected, because we want to learn from you guys. You know your customers as well as we do sometimes, usually more. And so we want to learn from you about how to better help you with those marketing tools. In the way we engage clients, obviously we're here today at Rapyd Summit, and we also are going to go to the Web Summit in Lisbon tomorrow. And so events, Rona that I see at the back has been instrumental at building crazy booths and crazy stages around the globe, from rockets at We Are Developers all the way to open stage at Money 2020 in Vegas, where we had, correct me if I'm wrong, about 2,500 people coming to the stage last week. And so we do a lot of content series as well, developers emails, we host parties as well in some cases. I hope everyone is going to come tomorrow to our Join the Moment 3.0. But those are things that we do for multiple events to create, again, that brand awareness. We have also, and we're still working on how to best promote our partners to our community of clients. So we are starting to work with VAT companies, logistic companies, etc., lenders as well. And so how can we actually mutualize few of our partners together and create even more value proposition for the end client and for them to work with all of us. We're also building a lot of white papers that has been significant over the past few months. We've done stuff around B2B commerce, disbursement, ecosystem, etc., etc. We'll discuss that in the breakout session as well. And the growth opportunities. Those are reciprocal attendance. So obviously you're here today, not that you owe us anything, don't worry, but more that we truly believe that bringing partners all together is helping us to have a better value proposition to our merchants, like cosmetically, so visually, as well as deeply into the core of our offering. And we want to replicate that. Actually, on that picture, it's Brad, the banked CEO, that we had an interview with last week. So those are things that we do as well to create co-content, and they're actually going to leverage that content for different activities that they have into their corp dev activities in the next few months. It's a lot of logo placement as well. We don't want to put hundreds and hundreds of logos on our website, but we believe that for some specific campaigns, for some specific clients, we need to have the right partners and we need to have the right logos. And that's super helpful for us to have those. And so that's truly how we see partnership. Again, the whole goal of this is to tell you that we are at your disposal. We're here to help you grow, as well as you are helping us. Obviously, it's not a one-way street, as we said. We have an interest of having that ecosystem that is successful, because that makes us even more successful. As Eric said this morning, without partners, we don't do anything, or we will not be able to scale appropriately. So thank you very much for joining the sessions, joining today, and thank you for your attention. So what I will, so do you have any questions before we go to the next part of that? No? Okay, so what we will do is I'll invite the Valitor partners to go on this side, and then I'll keep with me and Harrison the legacy Rapyd. Don't see anything that we want to break things, but you may have different needs or different questions about the solution that are slightly different. We want to gather your feedback and then potentially use that with our product team to see if we have actually things that are mutual to the two groups and how we can actually bridge that together at the end of the session if we have common feedback. So again, feel free to express anything that is good or frustrating or bad, because that's the time for us to hear it. We want to hear also the bad things. Of course, we want to hear the good things as well, but the bad things are not necessarily bad to hear, as long as we have products not too far from us, and the session was recorded, so we will be able to share that with them later on. Okay? Thank you very much.